Hey everybody, how's it going? So we're going to take another look at Jeremy DeWitte. Everyone wanted me to talk about his arrest April 7th, 2021. So just recently, last month. And this is him in court April 8th. So what happened is they called 911 because her foot was smashed in the car door, if I'm understanding it correctly. And she now claims that the police persuaded her to file charges on good old Jeremy here. You know, he's a stand up guy after all. So the, she's now claiming that the charges should be dismissed and all that good stuff because she loves him. But we see this a lot in domestic dispute cases, don't we? I mean, I'm just a layperson. No I'm not like Jeremy. I'm not trying to portray myself as law enforcement or a lawyer. Just a normal person taking a look at this. And from my understanding, from reading and just being alive, that a lot of domestic dispute cases, the victim will always go back to the person that is causing them harm for whatever reason. They love him. Oh, he didn't mean to do that. Oh, poor guy. You just don't understand him. You don't understand poor Jeremy. He's going through a lot. So this video is 7 minutes and 33 seconds. So let's go through it. It's going to be a little longer because I'll probably interrupt and talk. If you want to see the full video, go over to Cop Watch TV. Just look in the description. I will have the link right to their page, so don't yell at me for talking because that's why you're here. If you're here and you're listening to me, well, I'm going to be stopping the video and talking. If you want to watch the complete video, look in the description and go over to Cop Watch TV and check it out. I recommend that.
Morning, Your Honor.
Morning. What's your name on the record?
For the record, Amir Ladan on behalf of Jeremy DeWitte, he's to my right.
All right. Sir, can you tell me your name?
It's Jeremy Charles DeWitte, Your Honor.
Mr. DeLay, you're here in 2021 MM2397AO on charge of battery dating violence. Court did review the charging affidavit in this case, did find probable cause for your arrest. I have a witness in the witness booth. Ma'am, can you tell me your name and spell your last name? Can you raise your right hand and be sworn in? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Excuse me while I turn up the volume here due to it being kind of low.
All right, ma'am, put your hand, oh, sorry. Can you tell me how you know Mr. DeWitte?
We used to date. We've dated on and off.
For how long?
About 3 years, 2 years, 3 years.
And do you want to have contact with him?
Yes.
Are you afraid of him?
No.
Look at the attorney's eyes. I don't know. I mean, he's representing DeWitte, I think, here. And I would think he is positive. But his eyes look like, what? You want to have contact with him? I don't know. It just looks like
Anything
that.
this happened in the past?
No.
Did drugs and alcohol play a role in this instance?
No.
If something like this were to happen again, do you feel comfortable contacting law enforcement?
Yes.
All right. Ms. State, do you have any questions for the witness?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Delaney?
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning.
By the way, I'd like to point out that it seems like he's in the news being arrested more times than I ever have. Well, I've actually been arrested 0 times. I don't know. Am I privileged because of that? I know. I just don't think I do things that get me in such deep trouble that I would be arrested. I'm not a perfect person, but I don't beat my wife. I don't do anything that would give the illusion that I mistreat my wife or child. And, but here we have Jeremy, and he seems to have an issue of being arrested a lot. a lot of stuff that he could probably prevent from happening by just acting differently.
You contacted me this morning to let me know about this, correct?
Yes.
What is it that you wanted the judge to know about this arrest?
Well, I mean, I initially called because I had an injury, and then the fire rescue did show up, but then so did 8 OPD officers. And they held me and Jeremy there for about 2 hours because they kept asking me if he had beat me or if he was abusing me. And
Okay, I would like to just point out, anytime that I've seen somebody get injured in such a way that you're not seriously injured, that you tend to be taken to the hospital. The car door was supposedly shut, closed hard on her foot. I'm guessing maybe it broke or they thought it did, but for some reason somebody called. I don't know who called 911, if she did, who did, but they came out. That's usually not a typical thing that occurs. If it was an accident, you typically, let's say it happened. Let's say he shut the door, didn't know her foot was hanging out. Boom. Oh no. Issue. Hey, you would check it out. You would then keep her in the car, get in, and take her immediately to the hospital. If that's so, would you want to pay for the ambulance ride when you don't need to? I don't know if he has insurance or doesn't have insurance or is expecting the state to pay for it. But either way, you would just probably take the person right to the doctor's office, whether it's an urgent care facility or a hospital, and have it x-rayed and all that. You wouldn't go through calling 911.
And I refused to make a police report, and I realized what they were trying to do. It wasn't what I originally called for, and so I said I wouldn't answer any more questions. When I asked to speak to him, I said if he and I speak to you together, we can explain what happened. They said they were going to arrest me if I tried to talk to him at all. So it turned from me having an injury to, as I said, 8 OPD officers showing up.
You called for medical assistance, correct?
Right.
Okay.
So they're saying she called for medical assistance. That's not usually what you do if it's not life-threatening. You go to the hospital, like I said. He would drive you to the hospital. Well, why would you call somebody for medical assistance? It's a foot. Okay, maybe there's more. Let's see.
Okay. Did you call because Mr. DeWitte had done something to you?
No.
You want to make sure, I want to make sure that the court understands, you are currently a contractor for
Right.
Mr. DeWitte's company, correct?
Right, and I was there this morning, working in movie vehicles and everything, and I mean that's what happened.
So, Your Honor, I'll proffer some information for the court's consideration, and I can have additional testimony elicited from Ms. Burton if necessary. A contractor for Metro State for some time now. Their vehicles were vandalized, their tires were slashed, they were spray painted. Mr. DeWitte were dealing with that at the time that she got injured.
Sounds like a lot of people are ticked off at him. If you're yelling at people and doing stuff, I'm sure there's a lot of people that is mad at this guy. And, they know who he is now because he's in the news all the time. So it's not like, who was that guy that just yelled at me? I could see there being issues.
And so I don't really understand why this is being characterized as a domestic violence battery case. I think her testimony is clear that that's not what occurred. So I'd be asking the court to find there's a conflict in the statement made by law enforcement and the sworn statement here today, which would confirm that this, in fact, was not a domestic violence battery case, and I'd ask that you not find probable cause based on her testimony. Certainly I can have her proffer.
It would be nice to see what the 911 call said. How was her tone? How was she screaming? Was she asking for help? What exactly was the tone of the call? Or did she just say, hey, I hurt myself, I need medical assistance. Although that's really strange, and I would never call to tie up services from somebody that maybe 2 blocks away is getting shot, and they actually need that medical services because it's an emergency, not because my ankle got smashed in a door.
Any additional information that Madam Prosecutor or Your Honor would require in order to make that finding?
Well, on Mr. Ledan, she started off with the situation not so good. Because I asked her if something like this happened in the past intentionally to see if she would tell me the truth. She didn't. The face she was looking at is several acts of domestic violence between these two individuals. So,
Oh, Jeremy seems in disbelief. What do you mean?
I don't know how much weight you want me to put into her testimony to tell me that she called for medical assistance and nothing happened. That may be true. I don't know. But as of right now, we're just going to find probable cause for his arrest. I'm going to set his bond in this case an amount of $1,000. In addition to bond, he had no contact with the victim in this case. That he maintain a separate residence from the victim. If they do have a shared residence, he may return one time with law enforcement to retrieve any personal items he had.
Yeah, the judge is not stupid. They see domestic abuse cases all the time, you know, and the victim always is like, oh, well, I want to go back to him, and oh, he didn't mean that, he's such a good guy. It's like, I don't know what this lady looks like or anything more about her. I think if you've been together for 2 or 3 years and all, this guy's like, has a major ego and thinks he's a cop, and he has a lot going on in the background and getting, you know, arrested and what have you. I don't think I'd want anything to do with him, no matter how much I love the guy. But hey, you know, I'm not a woman, I don't know. Maybe, you know, attachment issues. She's attached, and she just can't let go.
I mean, not possessing weapons or firearms. The weapons and firearms he has and returned to law enforcement within 24 hours of his release.
Well, he's a felon. He can't have weapons. Well, do they mean non-lethal? He loves his pepper ball gun.
And you're out on bond and other cases.
And if nothing did happen, the lawyer here is obviously not working for free, and he's obviously been dealing with Jeremy a lot. I would think this wouldn't be pro bono here. I mean, there's no way at the end of the day the lawyer would ever recoup his fee, but I mean, I guess it's publicity. It's in the news. It's out there once again. Yeah.
Out on bond in Osceola County case 2020, CF 3570. You're out on bond in Osceola County case 2019, CF 3928. You're out on bond in case 2020, CF 4466AO. You're out on bond in case 2020, CF 1974BO. You're out on bond in case 2020, CF 1977AO. You're out on bond in 2020, CF 2039AO. You're out on bond in case...
They're going through all the bonds he's been out on. I'm sorry. Normal people don't have records like that.
2020, CF 2414AO. You're out on bond in case 2020, CF 2415AO. You're out on bond in case 2020, CF 1853AO. You're out on bond in case 2019, CF 15057AO. You're out on bond in case 2019, CF 15055AO. You're out on bond in case 2019, CF 12733AO. And all those bonds or cases, the coast will revoke those bonds. We set new bonds at $0 in those cases. I think Mr. Ledan represents you in all those cases. So you can get you in front of the appropriate one judge, probably to handling all the orange cases and all the Osceola County cases to see if there's any release conditions they're going to release you on.
Jeremy just cannot resist not talking. This is why you have a lawyer. When you're there, just say something to your lawyer, and your lawyer will either speak on your behalf or find that, no, we don't need to mention that. That's why you have a lawyer. Let him do the work. And you can tell the lawyer's kind of looking over like, oh God, here we go again.
Your Honor, if Ms. can't have contact with my client, she's going to lose her employment. Would the court consider a no hostile contact order in lieu of a no contact order? They do not reside together. They're not dating. So, I mean, there's no issue here as it relates to that.
Not at this time. You can talk to the division judge about that. Seems that didn't work before, based on what I'm reading. So you can talk to him about him or her about how they feel about no hostile contact being reimposed.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, have a great day.
Wow. I mean, that does add complications. She works for him, so she would see him at the whole escorting service of funeral parades, Metro State as they call it. That would hamper stuff, and that would need clarified. But at the same time, why would she necessarily lose her job? Are you that bad of a boss that if you believed the cops were in the wrong, and she believes the cops were in the wrong, wouldn't you kind of just keep her on board and pay? You wouldn't just be like, well, sorry, you got to be let go. Now, come on now. And isn't it the girlfriend? I thought it was his girlfriend, so wouldn't you, because you love her and she loves you, you'd still pay her to act like she couldn't work there? I mean, I guess he wouldn't be able to come in at the same time, but I mean, they could work that out, right? I mean, hey, I'm coming in, can you go out the back door? Okay. You know, I don't know. They could figure it out. Anyways, this guy obviously has a lot of problems, has a long list rap sheet, thinks he's a cop. He's not a cop. He dresses the part. Yeah, he has a lot of issues. I think the girl just needs to move on, find somebody else. Do you really want to continue with this drama with this guy? Maybe he's the best guy ever. I'll give him benefit of the doubt. I don't know. But wouldn't you move on? I wouldn't. I don't think my wife would put up with me if I had a lot of issues going on. She'd be like, you know, I love you and stuff, but there's just too many issues. I think we should go our separate ways. You know, any rational person's going to say that. You're not going to want to just keep dealing with this ongoing, even if it's true that the cops are after him, you know, some reason they have a vendetta, they want to get Jeremy. You know, even if that's the case, I think you'd be like, I can't deal with this anymore. Let's go our own ways, and if this all gets settled, then, you know, maybe we, you know, get back together. But right now, you know, let's go our own way and separate. But I still find it funny that here we have Jeremy supposedly, I guess, slammed the door on her foot, hurt her foot. She calls 911 for medical, and medical is going to come out, like an ambulance or I guess the fire. They're going to come out, and the police. And you know all that chain of events is going to happen if you call an ambulance or whatever. The cops show up because they got to make sure what happened, right? No one in their right mind calls for an ambulance when you can easily be driven to urgent care or a hospital. Most likely, hospital is your best bet if you think you're going to need x-rays, because that's probably where urgent care is going to send you. But some of the bigger urgent cares have x-ray machines and all that. So, you know, that they might be able to take care of you, but that's something you would definitely want to call and probably figure out, where am I going to go, and then be taken there and not call for an ambulance or any type of medical services. You know that triggers a huge response, and you know that triggers a large bill too, unless you're not going to pay it. And even most insurance companies, if they pay for an ambulance ride, they typically pay for so many miles. So where does he live in relation to a hospital? You know, maybe they pay for 3 miles, but he's 10 miles away, so he's going to have to pay for 7 more miles, and it's not cheap. I'll tell you that much. It is not cheap. So you do not want to be taken by ambulance if you don't need to be. In an ankle injury is not something you need to be. Your leg could be twisted backwards, and I would still be like, put me in the car and just let's go to the hospital. Because they're not going to do anything for you on the side of the road or parking lot or whatever the case was, or on the gurney. They're going to just take you to the hospital, right? So unless it's life threatening, I don't understand why 911 was called, and it would be great to have that 911 call because we could hear the tone in her voice and maybe him in the background and could understand what was going on. So that call is very vital. So we need that call to see what occurred. So anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this. Have a good one, and don't be a DeWitte. You know, you can be better than that. Have a good one.